I'm 83. I watched my friends die chasing money. I am 83 years old. I have buried 7 of my closest friends in the last 5 years. 7 men who worked themselves to death for numbers in a bank account they never got to enjoy. I sat in the front row at every funeral. I watched their wives cry over caskets filled with men who spent more time with spreadsheets than with their own children. And I realized something that took me 8 decades to understand. We got it all wrong. My name is Robert. I am standing at the edge of my own mortality. And before I join my friends in the ground, I need to tell you what I witnessed, what I learned, what I wish someone had screamed at all of us 50 years ago. You are killing yourself for money that will outlive you by centuries while you miss the life that's happening right now. Let me tell you about my friend Michael. Brilliant man. Started with nothing in 1965. Built a construction empire from the ground up. By 1995, he was worth $12 million. $12 million. He owned 5 properties, had a fleet of trucks, employed 200 people. Michael worked 16 hours a day for 30 years straight. 16 hours. He missed his daughter's first steps because he was on a job site. He missed his son's graduation because he had a meeting in Dallas. His wife ate dinner alone for 3 decades. I remember visiting Michael's house one Sunday afternoon in 1994. His wife Sarah answered the door with flour on her hands, baking cookies for their grandchildren who were coming to visit. I asked where Michael was. She pointed to his home office. Door closed. Phone pressed to his ear, shouting at someone about a delayed shipment. His grandchildren played in the yard outside his window, but he never looked up, never saw them, never heard their laughter. Sarah told me that evening, "Robert, he built this beautiful house for the family, but he's never actually in it. He's always somewhere else, working for tomorrow while today slips away." In 2019, at 74 years old, Michael had a stroke at his desk, massive one. The paramedics found him face down on top of blueprints for another project, another deal, another dollar. His funeral was packed. Business partners, employees, city officials, everyone talking about what a success he was, what he built, what he achieved. His wife sat in the front row, holding the hand of a daughter who barely knew him. And you know what she whispered to me at the burial? She said, "Robert, I would trade every penny, every property, every truck for one more Sunday morning with him drinking coffee on the porch." Michael spent 30 years building an empire for a family he never got to know. That is not success. That is tragedy. But Michael wasn't alone. There was David. Worked at the bank for 43 years. Climbed from teller to vice president. Every promotion meant longer hours, more stress, more money, and less time at home. David had this ritual. Every Sunday morning, he'd spread the financial newspapers across his kitchen table. The Wall Street Journal, Barron's, Financial Times. He'd study market trends while his wife made breakfast and asked about their day. But David never heard her questions. He was always calculating, always analyzing, always planning the next financial move. His wife would set his coffee down next to his newspapers and sigh. That sigh said everything about their marriage. David used to tell me, "Robert, 5 more years, just 5 more years, and I'll have enough to really retire. Then we'll travel, then we'll live." I heard that exact sentence from David for 15 years. 5 more years. It became his mantra, his excuse, his prison. David had a heart attack in the bank parking lot on a Tuesday morning in January. He was 68. He never took that trip. He never saw Europe. He never learned to fish like he always said he would. I found his calendar after he died. The next 18 months were booked solid. Meetings, conferences, more work, more chasing. The man was planning to work until he literally couldn't work anymore. And that's exactly what happened. At David's funeral, his son stood up to speak. This grown man, 45 years old, crying like a child. You know what he said? He said, "I don't have a single memory of my father that doesn't involve him being tired, stressed, or too busy to really be with us." That is what money cost David. His relationship with his own son. Then there was James. James made a fortune in real estate, bought and sold properties for 40 years, made millions flipping houses while his own home fell apart. His marriage fell apart. His health fell apart. James had this habit of driving through neighborhoods, not to visit friends or enjoy the scenery, but to spot investment opportunities. He'd see a house with a sagging porch and think, flip potential. He'd see an elderly couple's home and wonder when they'd be ready to sell. He turned the entire world into a commodity. Every relationship was a networking opportunity. Every conversation was a chance to find the next deal. Even family gatherings became business meetings in disguise. James died alone in a hospital room surrounded by nurses who were paid to care about him because he had pushed away everyone who would have cared for free. The irony? James spent his last 5 years in a one-bedroom apartment, sick and isolated, while owning 17 rental properties he never had time to enjoy. I went to clean out his apartment after he died. You know what I found? Boxes of bank statements showing millions in assets, and a single photograph on his nightstand, a picture of him and his ex-wife from 1975, back when they were young and broke and happy. All that money, all those properties, and the only thing he kept close was a memory of when he had nothing but love. Are you seeing the pattern? 7 funerals, 7 brilliant men, 7 different businesses, all chasing the same lie. The lie that money equals security, the lie that wealth equals worth, the lie that success means having more than the next person. But let me tell you about another friend. Not one who died, but one who figured it out before it was too late. His name was Walter. Walter worked construction with Michael in the early days. Same crew, same long hours, same dreams of making it big. But something happened to Walter in 1982 that changed everything. His 4-year-old daughter got sick, really sick. Leukemia. Walter took a leave of absence to be with her in the hospital, watched her fight for her life for 8 months. 8 months of sitting in hospital chairs, holding her tiny hand, reading her stories, being present for every moment of her battle. She survived. She beat it. But Walter didn't go back to the same life. He told me, "Robert, sitting in that hospital, I realized I'd been living like I had forever to be a father. Like there would always be time later to really know my kids. That hospital taught me that later is not guaranteed." Walter scaled back, opened a small carpentry shop, made a quarter of what Michael made. But Walter was home for dinner every night. Walter coached Little League. Walter taught his kids to drive, to fish, to balance a checkbook. Walter was present. Today, Walter is 85. His daughter, the one who beat cancer, is a doctor now. She calls him every Sunday, brings her kids over every month. They have a relationship built on decades of small moments that added up to a lifetime of love. Walter chose time over money, presence over profit, and he's the richest man I know. Let me tell you what money actually is. Money is a tool, like a hammer. A hammer is useful for building something. But if you worship the hammer instead of using it to build something meaningful, you end up with a garage full of hammers and nothing built. That is what my friends did. They collected hammers while their lives fell apart around them. I was different, but not because I was smarter. I was different because I was lazy. I worked at the post office for 38 years. Same route, same pay grade. Never climbed the ladder because I never wanted to carry the weight. My friends used to pity me. Poor Robert, they'd say. No ambition, no drive. Content with so little. But while they worked 70-hour weeks, I came home at 3:30 every day. While they missed school plays, I was in the front row cheering for my kids. While they ate takeout at their desks, I had dinner with my wife every single night for 4 decades. I knew my children's friends' names. I knew their fears, their dreams, their favorite foods. I was there for the scraped knees, the failed tests, the first heartbreaks. I was present for the life that was happening while my friends were busy building their fortunes. My friends made 10 times more money than me, but I made 10 times more memories than them. Now I am 83. My wife Eleanor and I have been married for 57 years. We raised 3 children who actually like spending time with us because we spent time with them. We have 9 grandchildren who fight over who gets to visit Grandpa Robert. I am not rich in money, but I am wealthy in ways that cannot be counted. My friend Thomas found this out too late. Thomas was a lawyer, partner at a big firm, made partner by working Christmas, Thanksgiving every weekend. He missed everything that mattered to earn everything that didn't. Thomas kept a photograph on his desk, his family at the beach in 1987. His kids were maybe 8 and 10 years old, building sandcastles, laughing in the sun. But Thomas wasn't in the picture. He was the one taking it because even on family vacation, he couldn't fully participate. He was documenting life instead of living it. Thomas had a heart attack at 62, survived it, spent 6 weeks in the hospital with nothing but time to think. When he got out, he told me something I will never forget. He said, "Robert, I laid in that hospital bed for 43 days. 43 days with no meetings, no clients, no deals to close. And you know what I realized? The world kept spinning. The firm kept running. The clients found other lawyers. I thought I was irreplaceable. I thought they needed me. But I was just another cog in a machine that worked fine without me." Thomas tried to change after his heart attack. He tried to cut back. But it was too late. He was addicted to the chase, addicted to the validation that came from being busy, being needed, being important. The addiction to money is worse than any drug because society celebrates it. We call workaholics dedicated. We call money obsession ambition. We applaud the very behavior that destroys families and kills relationships. Thomas died of a second heart attack 3 years later. This time at his desk, working on a case that someone else finished the next week. At Thomas's funeral, his law partner gave a speech about what a dedicated professional he was, how he never took a vacation, how he lived for the work. His wife and daughter sat there listening to this man praise Thomas for all the things that kept him away from them. They weren't proud, they were angry, and they had every right to be. Let me tell you something else I learned watching my friends die. The pursuit of money changes you. It makes you paranoid. It makes you competitive with everyone, including your own family. It makes you believe that your worth is tied to your net worth. My friend Kenneth made his money in stocks, day trading, made and lost fortunes multiple times. But even when he was winning, he was miserable, always worried about the next crash, always checking his phone for market updates, always comparing his portfolio to other people's. Kenneth couldn't enjoy a vacation because he was worried about what the market was doing while he was gone. He couldn't enjoy a meal without checking his stocks between courses. He couldn't have a conversation without steering it toward money. I watched Kenneth at his daughter's wedding in 2018. Beautiful ceremony. His daughter looked radiant, but Kenneth spent half the reception on his phone, monitoring Asian markets. His own daughter's wedding day, and he was thinking about yen futures. Kenneth died of stress-related complications at 71. His last words to his wife were about a stock he wanted her to sell, not "I love you," not "take care of yourself." Stock advice. The money consumed him so completely that even dying he couldn't let it go. Here is what I want you to understand, and listen carefully because this is the most important thing I will ever tell you. Money is not the enemy. Poverty is real. Bills are real. I am not telling you to live under a bridge and eat berries. But there is a difference between having enough and having everything. There is a difference between financial security and financial obsession. Enough means you can pay your bills, save for emergencies, and sleep at night without worrying about money. Everything means you have more than you can spend, but you are still trying to get more. My friends crossed the line from enough to everything decades ago. But they could not see it because they were running on a treadmill that kept getting faster. Every raise meant a bigger house payment. Every bonus meant more expensive tastes. Every milestone meant moving the goalpost further away. They were making more and enjoying less every year. I stayed at enough. Same house for 40 years, same car for 10 years at a time, same simple pleasures. And because I was not chasing more, I had time to enjoy what I already had. Here is what happens when you choose enough over everything. You stop comparing yourself to other people because you are not in competition with them. You stop sacrificing today for some imaginary perfect tomorrow. You stop missing your life while you are living it. The richest man I ever knew was my neighbor Frank. Frank was a janitor at the high school for 35 years, made maybe $30,000 a year. But Frank had something my wealthy friends never had: peace. Frank never worried about the stock market because he did not have stocks. He never worried about interest rates because he paid cash for everything. He never worried about keeping up with anyone because he was not in the race. Frank died at 89, surrounded by children, grandchildren, and great-grandchildren who adored him. His funeral was standing room only, not because he was important in business, but because he was important to people. That is wealth, real wealth. I am 83 now. I have maybe 5 years left, maybe 10 if I am lucky. And I'm not worried about my portfolio or my assets or my legacy in the business world. I am thinking about Saturday mornings with Eleanor. I am thinking about teaching my grandson to fish. I am thinking about the sunset I watched last night from my front porch. Those are the dividends of a life well invested. You young people, you middle-aged people still chasing the brass ring, hear me. The ring is not worth catching. Not if it costs you everything that actually matters. Stop running toward money and start walking toward meaning. Stop sprinting toward success and start strolling toward satisfaction. Work to live. Do not live to work. Make enough to be comfortable and then make memories instead of money. Because I promise you, I absolutely promise you, when you are lying in that hospital bed for the last time, you will not be thinking about your net worth. You will be thinking about your life's worth. And the measure of a life's worth is not what you accumulated. It is what you gave, not what you owned. It is who you loved, not what you achieved. It is who you became. My friends forgot this. They traded their souls for stock options and died empty despite dying rich. Do not be like my friends. Do not die rich and empty. Live poor in money and rich in everything else, because everything else is everything that matters. I am tired now. Go call someone you love instead of checking your bank balance. Go home to your family instead of staying late at the office. Your money will be there tomorrow. Your life might not.